hard, crush the standard, and shift the power to yourself. Challenge 5 was visualize your goals. Right? Visualize your success, visualize your obstacles, and plan to achieve the goals and overcome the obstacles. So really, that's great. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to go to school, if you're trying to be a better husband or better wife, or overcome a bad habit, visualize what success looks like with with whatever you're trying to achieve and the obstacles. So for me, visualizing my success was, okay, I want to have my master's degree. I want to be, 200 pounds, or I want to be 180. I want to be this. I want to be that, right? I want to overcome anger and porn and overcome, a lot of those other bad habits of eating, right? What does that look like? So visualize what I want to look like, visualize what I want my habits to be, and then also what kind of obstacles. I think that's the big key too, is when you're trying to achieve things, it's not always going to be a smooth process. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to fall. You're going to stumble. You're going to, like for food, right? Like you're going to, wow, I shouldn't have ate the entire pack of Oreos, and now I'm, it's kind of that's an obstacle that you put yourself in, that you stumbled over. Or for the porn, right? Like you kind of fall into temptation over and over again. It took me a long time to get back on and overcome that obstacles. But you got to realize, okay, what are my obstacles? Is it, next thing you know, is it social media? Is that an obstacle? Is that a stumbling block? Is it, is it what I'm reading? Is it what I'm looking at? Is it the shows I'm watching? Any of that can feed back into your other bad habits, lower your guard, and next thing you know, you're stumbling on it. So visualize where you're going to fall at, and that way you can kind of plan for that success. Challenge number 6 is the cookie jar, which basically he says, like if you're kind of like back to that calloused mind, where kind of develop your calluses when you work out, right, on your hands. So the cookie jar is basically remember your victories and what you've overcome. I love that. If you're maybe you overcome the food habit, right? It's like, wow, I've really conquered this addiction to sugar and addiction to junk food. Then maybe now you can overcome the addiction to porn, maybe anger or anxiety or depression. Remember your victories. Hey, I can do 50 push-ups because I actually, my body can go further. I can just do it in sets, but I can push myself to do whatever it is that, hey, I can graduate grad school. I graduated from, my bachelor's degree or associate's degree, whatever it is. You can accomplish those things, but you pull it from the cookie jar. And that's what he talks about, is just, remember your accomplishments, because that can give you fire and fuel and confidence to achieve, maybe, overcome the obstacle or achieve your future goals. And then remove the governor, which is basically just push yourself beyond what you think is your capacity. And you can do it in small goals, right? He talks about like the 10%, like go 10% further, whether that's 10% after each set, 10% after each workout or each week, whatever your cadence is. Push yourself 10% more. Just don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. If you can do 50 push-ups, okay, and then next week try to do 60 push-ups, and then 70 push-ups the week after that. And this is kind of where the running further kind of came in. It's like, okay, maybe we run 2 miles, we can run 3 miles. Can we run 4? Can we run 5? And that's where I'm like, wow, I can run 6. And it's really kind of a time issue. Once you get past 6, you're like, okay, I've got, do I have an hour and a half? Do I have an hour, plus to run? That's really kind of where it comes for me. And a lot of you are busy, right? So recognize what your actual limit is in terms of time, and then push yourself to your boundary, right? To your actual boundary. And instead of the boundaries that we think we have or that we perceive. So, because he also says, like, really a lot of us fail at 40%, and that really we can go beyond that 40%. Like, if we run 4 miles, in all reality, that's just 40% of what our actual true capacity is. So in all reality, you can run way, way, way further. So remove the governor, push yourself, try to go beyond your perceived capacity. Challenge 8, and I really, really love this, is scheduling. Know every minute of your day. And a lot of people ask me, like, hey, I don't know how you do all this stuff, podcast, and you're a youth pastor, and you sell insurance, and you have all these other jobs, and you work for park, and you're dad and a husband, and how do you do it all? And my answer is, I know every minute. I know when I wake. I know when I wake up. I know when I'm going to, drink my cup of coffee. I know exactly what, from the time frame I'm going to open up my Bible, when I'm going to pray, when I'm, finish up, my morning routine of devotions and prayer and reading, to when I'm starting work, when I'm taking, my workout break, when I'm taking, my second coffee. I know exactly every detail that I have. I know when I'm going to do insurance. I know when I'm going to write a sermon. I know exactly the details, and also I schedule that out. Like, okay, I've got to write a sermon in 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm going to write a paragraph today, or I'm going to write this today. I'm going to write my podcast by this time. And that way I know exactly every second. I think that's where a lot of failure comes in, is we don't know every minute, or, if you don't know where your minutes are going, you're really not keeping track of your time, and thus you're losing your time. And really, we're all blessed with a great amount of time and to accomplish so much. It's really not if you have that, if you've budgeted the time in. I think, actually, I just listened to it this morning, which is funny, is the Rick Warren was talking about wisdom, right? And wisdom, the more wise you are, the more you're going to be blessed to do things, right? If you're wise with your time, right, you're going to be blessed with more time. I think that's kind of where it comes in, is I just know where my time's going. I know every single detail. I know when I'm going to bed, and that's what and that's what he talks about. He goes, you can optimize your schedule if you budgeted in where all your minutes are going. You can find out, okay, hey, I can actually work out 30 more minutes, or I can actually work out this today, and push yourself. So it's getting to push yourself, but two, schedule and know every single minute of what you're doing throughout the day. I think a lot of people would be a lot less stressed if they knew what was going on and they knew their schedule a lot better. But some people just, they just sit around and they don't know their schedule, and thus the schedule just kind of gets ahead of them, and it kind of rules them. So yeah, highly recommend it, scheduling. And then challenge number 9 is be uncommon amongst the uncommon. So basically, just stand out. Right, like here he's a Navy SEAL, which is they're very uncommon. They're some of the hardest, toughest dudes in the world, and how he's wanted to stand out amongst those toughest dudes, and so how that's where he's the ultra marathon runner. He's constantly pushing himself further than what even some of those other guys are. And in that chapter he talks about where even though they might be a tough dudes and they might work out, they don't a lot of them just kind of, once they become a Navy SEAL, they do their normal training, but they don't go past anything normal. And so he wanted to push himself and be, uncommon amongst the uncommon. So just stand out. Whatever your thing is that you're doing, if you're, if you're in your job, in your church, in your whatever group, in your gym, right? Stand out amongst the uncommon. If you're in a gym, right, or if you're working out, there you go, you're uncommon. So try to stand out amongst the uncommon. If you're in church, right, that's becoming uncommon. So stand out amongst the uncommon. And then challenge number 10 is, and this is I highly recommend this one too, is after action reports. And we're going to fail, right? We're going to stumble. And an after action report takes notes of those failures, and where we stumbled and how we can fix it, right? So, like I said already through these challenges, is I've stumbled a lot. It took a long time to get over the eating, and it took a long time to get over the pornography and anger. You're going to have those stumbling blocks, but take note. Okay, so reflect back and go, okay, today, hey, I was a little bit tired today, so I was a little bit more irritable, or I was tired, and maybe I cheated on my meal because I wanted some comfort, or maybe, whatever reason, right? Like, hey, you stumble. Take note of where you would stumble. Take note of how you stumbled. But better yet, fix it, right? Say, okay, hey, I'm not going to allow myself to do this. I'm not going to go on social media anymore. Social media was a temptation, right? And it fed into pornography. Okay, so I'm not going to go social media anymore because of that, because it leads into pornography. Hey, I'm not going to watch Netflix, or I'm not going to watch these certain shows. I'm going to only watch PG-13 shows because of the language and maybe some of the graphic content. And now I'm, that way I'm kind of making sure the shields are up in my mind, and I'm not even tempted to watch porn. Or, hey, you know what? I'm not going to even buy junk food because I will eat it. And that's the truth for me. Is I'm not going to. If the food is there, I will eat it. Which is why Thanksgiving is horrible. Because if it's there, I will eat it. So just take notes of, okay, how do you typically fail? Where are some stumbling blocks for you? How you can fix it moving forward. That way you don't stumble again. Stumbling is not the problem. You got to get back up on the horse and kind of get back up on the path and keep trying and keep improving. That way, you can always keep improving. Because the moment you stop and you're like, hey, I failed. Well, I'm never going to get this porn thing down, or this anger thing down, or food thing down, or if it's anxiety or depression, right? Don't just roll over and give up. Keep trying. It's going to be a process. Just keep trying. Just take note of how you fail and keep moving on. So again, I mentioned this is kind of some other takeaways from the book. I really like the callous mind. So, and again, calluses are developed by actually using a muscle, or using, like, for example, if you're weightlifting, right, you get calluses on your hands, and we can get that with our mind. So if we're trying to overcome a bad habit or achieve a goal, the more you push yourselves, the more you that you don't give in to the weak version of ourselves, we develop that callous mind. And a mind that is strong, knows it can achieve anything. So kind of combine the cookie jar and the calloused mind, and combine all of that stuff together. And remember that with God we can overcome a lot of things. If it's with God, we can kind of get that calloused mind. With God, we can kind of overcome and fortify our strengths and overcome our weaknesses. So even though this is not inherently a Christian book, I really think a lot of this stuff can be applied to your Christian life. If you're not a Christian, then this can definitely be applied to your transformation life. And the funny thing is David Goggins is not a Christian, and during the audiobook yesterday he said, you can pray all you want, but if you're not going to put in any work on your end, are you going to see any results? And that just blew me away. And that here's a guy who really probably doesn't know much about prayer, doesn't know anything about God, but yet has hit something perfectly that a lot of time, I prayed a lot for weight loss, but if I'm not going to diet and I'm not going to work out, am I going to see any blessings or see any results? And and that just stuck with me. And so I think that's key. When you're getting a callous mind, when you're trying to transform and try to change, if you're going to pray, if you're going to read the Bible, and you're going to try to grow that way, absolutely. But you got to put in some work as well. If you're wanting to get the promotion, you're going to have to put in some hours. If you're wanting to go to school, you're going to have to crack open some books. Whatever it is, right, you're going to have to put in some work. So if you want to pass the test, you could pray for God to help you on the test and to give you a clear mind and to help you with your anxiety on test anxiety. But you're also going to have to study, right? God's not going to just fill in the bubble sheets for you, for the answers. So just study, put in some work, and that's really what it talks about. Just put in the effort. So that's it for today's episode. I know I'm running a little long. I really think this book provides great perspective and can recharge your battery, like your motivation battery, maybe some inspiration as well. And then if you get to the motivation part, if you actually read the book, you're going to find that funny that I mentioned motivation. So also, kind of as always, right, remember transformation, it's a process. And remember that God is with you during that process. And as always, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My username is rev_McMullen94. I really want to be invested on your guys' transformation journey as you have been on mine. So please reach out, give me your thoughts. Maybe you've read a book, or again, maybe you have some books that would be beneficial for me. So just reach out as always, and I'd be glad to connect with you. Have a great week. God bless. And in the words of David Goggins, stay hard.